Good morning. I'm Hassan Giordano, and this is your DMV Daily Dose for Thursday, March 5th, 2020.
It's currently clear and 39 degrees in Baltimore. Expect mostly cloudy skies starting in the afternoon. Today's high will be 53 degrees, and the low will be 37.
This episode of the DMV Daily Dose is brought to you by Sheila Dixon for mayor. As a former educator, business leader, and the city's first female and one of its most effective mayors, Sheila Dixon is the only candidate for mayor who has a proven track record of reducing crime to historic lows, keeping our streets clean and green, while holding our local leaders accountable to providing the best possible quality service to Baltimore residents. Be sure to go to see Sheila's vision for how we take back the streets of Baltimore, restore confidence in our local government, and ensure that every child receives the same rigorous curriculum regardless of their zip code at www.dixonforbaltimore.com. Paid for by Friends for Sheila Dixon, Geneva Smith, Treasurer. The Baltimore Brewers' Ian Round is reporting on Joan Pratt's attack on opponent Bill Henry with mailers, robocalls, and others, which drew criticism from citizens as the incumbent comptroller under fire herself after a conflict of interest finding and boutique money laundering goes after a councilman based on a decade-old story. Caught reads the headlines in the campaign mailer from City Comptroller Joan Pratt that residents across the city found in their mailboxes a few days ago. It was Pratt's first campaign literature this cycle, and it came to many as a surprise, the first some residents can remember ever receiving from the six-term incumbent. In it, Pratt doesn't make a case for herself or point to any details of her record overseeing the city's finances since 1995. Instead, she lambasts her opponent, Councilman Bill Henry, based on a brief 2010 Baltimore Sun story about his expense reporting. The Sun cited Fox 45 for first disclosing that Henry expensed $6,500 in meals to his discretionary account, but incorrectly submitted restaurant receipts. He returned the money, and the voters have twice sent him back to City Hall since then. All that food, all those meals, all that taxpayer money, says the mailer, which includes the authority line by authority, friends of to elect Joan M. Pratt, CPA, Pamela Burney, Treasurer. A late afternoon robocall echoed the message, with Pratt asking, when was the last time any of us spent $6,500 on restaurant meals? He is wrong for Baltimore. Vote to re-elect me. She also has radio ads that are playing on Radio 1 stations in the black communities of Baltimore. The mailers, phone calls, and texts caused consternation in some circles. Some saw it as an attempt to mock the 4th District Councilman's weight problem. Physician Laura Green didn't read it as a personal insult. Rather, she said she saw it as an attempt to accuse him of corruption. Quote, which is highly ironic given her involvement in the Two Cheek Boutique scandal, Green said. She was referring to last month's disclosure by the U.S. attorney that a clothing consignment shop that Pratt co-owned with former Mayor Catherine Pugh was used as a money laundering operation to hide businessman J.P. Grant's illegal $20,000 payment to Pugh. Pratt says she knew nothing about the payment, which she was not reported on in income tax federal tax returns, but Pratt acknowledged that she did handle the store's tax returns, but said that they were based on financial information given to her by a third party, Afra Vance White. In another recent negative news story, Baltimore Inspector General reported that Pratt's vote to approve the sale of the 15 city-owned lots to her church for $1 apiece, including that Pratt's actions constituted, quote, a conflict of interest. Asked as his reaction to Pratt's negative ad campaign, and Councilman Henry pointed to both of these recent reports regarding his opponent and said, I would rather be attacked for this than to have been complicit in a money laundering scandal. You're supposed to have your own record to campaign on. Boop! Well, Maryland Matters is reporting on a bill that would have dramatically expanded Maryland's sales tax to raise more than $2.9 billion for education reform efforts, which has been voted down by a key House subcommittee. House Majority Leader Eric Luckwood A Democrat from Montgomery County tweeted Wednesday night that the Revenue Subcommittee of the Ways and Means Committee, which he chairs, voted unanimously to kill House Bill 1628, which he sponsored. The bill would have lowered the state's sales tax rate from 6 to 5%, but expanded it to apply to most services not currently taxed. The measure attracted emphatic opposition at a hearing earlier this week, in which DMV Daily reported on. Given the tremendous concern from the public and from small business owners, Lockwood said that the subcommittee was opting instead to move a smaller package of revenue bills. It includes measures that would implement a combined corporate reporting in the state, increase the state's tobacco tax once again, and apply it to vaping products, and a tax to tax certain digital goods similar to tangible goods. Combined, the measures would generate more than $350 million annually by 2025, according to preliminary fiscal estimates based on the bills as they were originally drafted, though amendments have been proposed. Quote, taken together, these bills get us as much of the way to fully funding the blueprint, though future legislators and governors will have more work to do to fund the final years of the plan, Lockwood tweeted. And they make our tax system more fair and help many Maryland small business owners. Maryland Matters is also reporting on a measure to allow Marylanders to gamble on sporting events, which cleared an important hurdle on Tuesday when a Senate committee voted unanimously to approve a bill sponsored by a Montgomery County lawmaker. Under the watchful gaze of nearly a dozen lobbyists in the back of the room, the Budget and Taxation Committee, made up of 9 Democrats and 4 Republicans, gave its approval to Senate Bill 4. The measure would set up a referendum for voters to consider in the November general election. If approved, it would grant 9 sports gambling licenses. 6 will go to the state's casinos. Pimlico Racecourse and Laurel Park, the state's busiest horse tracks, would share a license themselves. 1 will go to the state fairgrounds in Timonium, and 1 will go to a new Washington Redskins stadium in Prince George's County. Now, Maryland's 4 off-track betting parlors would have the right to accept bets on professional and college athletics. Each licensee would be forced to pay an upfront fee. For the Redskins, the Maryland Jockey Club, the company that owns Laurel and Pimlico, and the larger casinos, the fee would be $2.5 million. For casinos with fewer than 1,000 slots, the fee would be $1.5 million. The bulk of the state's take from sports gaming would fund K-12 public education, something that they always say when they want to do things like this. State Delegate Nick Mosby has carved out a lead in the race to be Baltimore's next city council president, though many voters remain undecided about who they want as their city's next number 2 elected official. A new poll for the Baltimore Sun, the University of Baltimore, and WYPR shows. The Baltimore Sun is reporting that Mosby, a former Baltimore City councilman, is favored by 26% of likely Democratic voters polled, while Carl Stokes, who served with him on the council, had 17% support. The 2 current council members running, Shannon Sneed and Leon Pinkett, trailed at 10% and 4% respectively. But nearly 4 in 10 voters were undecided nearly 2 months ahead of the April 28th primary. And with Council President Brandon Scott running for mayor, the seat is wide open, and Baltimore was getting the first competitive race for the position in about a decade. The poll of 400 voters was conducted February 20th to the 29th. It has a margin of error of 4.9 percentage points. The sample selected for the poll, based on historic trends in the Democratic primary electorate, was 67% of people ages 50 and over, 66% African American, and 65% female. Now, the owner of the poll said that Mosby benefits from strong name recognition across the city. He unsuccessfully ran for mayor in 2016 before being appointed in 2017 to a seat in the House of Delegates, and he is married to the very prominent Baltimore State's Attorney, Marilyn Mosby. He won a 2018 election to keep his House seat, representing parts of Central, West, and South Baltimore. Now, Carl Stokes, on the other hand, is well known in the city as well. He sought citywide office several times, running unsuccessfully for mayor in 1999, 2011, and just back in 2016. He also ran in 2003 for council president against future mayor Sheila Dixon and Catherine Pugh, finishing third. Now, in addition to previously serving in the city council representing the 12th district in Central and East Baltimore, Stokes is a former Baltimore School Board member and was the outspoken champion on the audits bill a few years ago. Now, council members Sneed and Pinkett from the 13th and the 7th councilmatic districts, respectively, are likely known entities in their respective districts, but perhaps not citywide. Sneed, representing that 13th district in East Baltimore, had her latest financial disclosure form show that she had more than $122,000 on hand, and she has picked up and racked up a whole lot of union support. Pinkett, on the other hand, representing the 7th district in West Baltimore, trailed in fundraising with $56,783 as of the last filing in January. Now, both Sneed and Pinkett are newcomers to the council, elected just 4 years ago as a part of a wave of young legislators that represented historic turnover and a progressive shift. Well, I'm your man, Mr. Politics, and this has been your DMV Daily Dose for Thursday, March 5th, 2020. Tomorrow there will not be a DMV Daily Dose. Even though it's Friday, it is my birthday, and I will be on vacation. So until Monday, when we meet again, make sure you go to read more about these articles that I've mentioned by going over to that website at www.dmvdaily.news.